The film opens in a bar with a Mexican contraband smuggler handing a bag of contraband to an American, who then takes the money from him. But suddenly they were attacked by a gang wearing masks. They wanted to take the contraband and money, but the American stared into the eyes of one of the gang members. He was able to recognize him, and this was because the American was an anti-narcotics officer and he had come on a mission to catch the dealer. The man from the gang was working with him, but he decided to hide any evidence from him and killed everyone. Then they heard the voice of two girls who were hiding and trying to escape through the forest. They tried to follow them, but the girls managed to escape. The events take us to a person named Michael, an American anti-contraband officer. Despite his advanced age, he is very interested in his fitness and exercises constantly. After that, he got dressed to go to work. He heard on the news about the persistence of Mexican smugglers who smuggle contraband through more than 19 tunnels across the border, and no one can stop them. He is upset by this news, turns off the TV, and goes to work. When he arrived at his workplace, he found that Mexican immigrants had demonstrated in front of the office. When they saw him, they ran towards him, and the journalists filmed it. So he quickly left in his car and entered through the back door. At work, he was met by his friend Hillis, who tried to talk to him and make him forget what happened. Then Michael goes to his boss, who shows him a video of him hitting a Mexican driver and insulting the Mexicans because he sees them as bad people. His boss told him that he had put himself in a bad situation recently, and in order to get him over it, he arranged a press conference to make him apologize in front of the people for what he did with the driver. Michael tried to defend himself, as he told him that this driver was in possession of a large amount of contraband, but the press exaggerated the news. But his boss ignored that because after what happened, he would not be able to discover the truth. But despite that, he was confident in Michael, and he told him about the incident of the killing of American officers in Mexico. He told him that they had found the two girls who were able to escape. He asked him to travel to Mexico to bring the two girls to be interrogated. But Michael was against the idea of going to Mexico, so as not to get into trouble. But his boss told him that this was the only solution. Otherwise, he would have to submit his resignation. After that, they went to the press conference for Michael to apologize. After that, Michael and Hiltz go to a bar to say goodbye to Hiltz before he leaves. Then their retired friend Brynner comes to them, and they start talking and remembering the old days. Brynner asked him to resign from his job instead of going to Mexico because they have a real belief that Mexican immigrants are the main reason for the ruin of the country. Then they spent time at the bar. Then Michael leaves. His friend Hillis tries to take him home because he was afraid for him because of his excessive drinking, but he was determined to leave alone. But before he gets into the car, a Mexican person crashes into his car. Michael tried to get into a fight with him, but Hillis calmed him down and asked him to leave. The next day, he goes to the Mexican border. He hands over his gun, and then an officer from the Mexican Federal Police comes to him. He started joking with him to make him change his negative outlook towards the Mexicans. He went with him to give him the two girls who were in prison. When they arrived, the officer went to bring the girls, but one of the girls felt collapsed after learning that she would go with Michael or any American officer in general. She said that they would die, but as for Rosa, she stared at Michael and did not say a word. During their return, Michael informs his boss that he has taken the two girls from prison and is on his way back to the country. But suddenly, a police car was chasing them. It approached the car, and the men asked the officer to stop the car, but when he did not fulfill their request, they shot him. Then they started shooting at the car. Michael was able to take the officer's gun, and he shot them professionally and was able to get rid of them. But unfortunately, the other girl was injured and died. Then, he called his boss to inform him of what happened, but he was unable to tell him his location because he was also injured in the stomach. He couldn't move, so he untied Rosa and asked her to get the first aid bag from the other car. But she grabbed a gun and tried to kill him, but she hesitated and went to get the first aid bag. She bandaged his wounds. Then she took the phone from him so that he would not call anyone. Then he lost consciousness. She took Michael with her in another car and went to her cousin's house. When he woke up, he found himself tied to the bed. Rosa's cousin was there to guard him. When Michael woke up, he went to tell her. She came with her brother, who works as a police officer. They told him that he would remain in this position for a week until his condition improved. She told him that she took his phone and was able to communicate with her brother, and then she threw the phone away. Michael was angry because he did not want to stay a week, but she ignored his words and left. After that, Rosa's mother comes in and brings him food. On the other hand, we see Brinner at the police station after he learned that Michael was accused of killing American officers and escaping with Rosa. He and Hillis entered the director's office, and he asked him to help them reach Michael and prove his innocence. But the director thanked him for his feelings and told him that he would inform him if he needed him. The next day, Rosa came and brought the treatment. She asked her mother to leave and not spend much time with Michael so that he would not deceive her. She began to heal his wounds, and she also told him that she would not return with him to America because she does not want to die at the hands of American officers. He mocks her words, which makes her angry with him, but he apologized to her and asked her to tell him why she did not trust the American officers. She told him that while she was hiding in the bar at the time of the crime, she discovered that one of the officers had recognized a gang member who also worked with them. Because he recognized him, they killed him. Michael promised her that he would help her, but he needed to make a call as soon as possible, because as time passed, the danger to her and her family increased, but she didn't trust him, so she told him she would think about it. Then she returned to him and asked him that if she returned with him to America, would they protect her or not? He told her that he would do everything in his power to protect her. Finally, she gave him the phone and let him make the call. The director told him that he and she should go to the American consulate in order to nullify the charges against him. Michael informed the director that the masked gang were American officers. Hillis was in the principal's office and overheard the conversation. The director was shocked by this because he did not know how to catch the traitors among them. However, he told him that they would conduct investigations during his return. Meanwhile, Rosa's brother arrived and untied Michael. Then he eats with them. Meanwhile, she told him that he was accused of killing the Mexican officer. He got angry and asked them why they were detaining him. They told him that they wanted his condition to improve before they allowed him to leave. They are also afraid that he will be killed by spies. After that, Rosa asked her brother to allow her to leave the country with Michael. But suddenly, 5 armed people arrive in a car. The gunfight begins between Rosa's brother and his cousin against these people. Michael calls them to untie him so he can join the fight. Rosa's cousin tries to untie him, but someone shoots him. Michael was able to take the weapon and kill the person trying to attack him. Meanwhile, Rosa's brother suffers a serious eye injury. Michael intervenes in time and saves Rosa's brother. Michael was able to control the situation. Because of what happened, Rosa's brother allowed her to go with Michael to America. She bids farewell to her family to leave. On the way, he told her that he would call his manager to inform him of what was going on. She got angry with him because when he called his boss, the gang would chase them. She started crying because of what happened to her and her family. He told her that he would talk to his friend Brinner because he trusted him. After that, they went to the smuggler to give him the money, and then they went to a hotel. Then, he called Brinner to ask him for help. The next day, Michael is surprised to find Hillis at his room door. He told him that he knew where he was through Brinner and that he and his friends had come to help him. Indeed, he goes with him. On the way, Rosa noticed the same bracelet on his friend's hands. She told Michael about this, so he asked Brinner to talk privately. Michael told him that the gang were policemen, but Brinner discovered that he had exposed them. So he took out his gun with his friends. Brinner wanted to get rid of Rosa. She looked into Michael's eyes and asked him to save her. Michael tried to trick Brinner into leaving Rosa, but Brinner was worried and told Michael he had to get out of it. Hillis tried to intervene and prevent Brinner from involving Michael in the matter, but Brinner shoots and kills him. Michael takes the gun and shoots them. Mike gets into a fight with one of them and gets rid of him. Then Rosa attacks Brinner. He was about to kill her, but Michael saved her. After that, she brings him treatment, and then they go to the person who will take them out of the country. They got into a car and then started walking to cross the border. They finally arrived in America, but the American police reached them. A week after their arrival, Michael is honored for what he has done. Rosa also comes to him and tells him that she has obtained American citizenship. The looks of admiration were mutual between them, and he decided to spend the rest of his life with her.